Welcome to the 7th video of our soil testing series, where we'll look at soil structure. Soil structure is how the soil particles, the sand, the silt, the clay and the organic matter are all arranged together in the soil, forming aggregates or clods. Fungi hyphae networks and other biological organisms can also help bind these particles and aggregates together. Humus, which makes up the largest portion of soil organic matter and has a large surface area that also adheres to soil minerals, plays an important role in structuring soil as well. How these particles and aggregates arrange themselves in the soil and the resulting spaces and pores provide the aeration and drainage that plants need to access the air and the water that they need to grow their roots. The soil requires these pores and channels that are large enough to be easily seen by the eye. Example, the worm burrows or the old root channels left behind from the previous plants. These large pores are called macropores. These allow the movement of air, water and roots through the soil and are therefore very important for drainage. Much smaller pores within the aggregates or particles are called micropores. These are important for plant available water and residual storage. To assess the structure of the soil, we need to work out the size and the quantity of these aggregates or clods in the soil. This is one of my favourite tests. Take a 20 centimetre cube of soil that has been gently removed from a hole in the selected paddock. Lay a tarp out and lift the soil to about hip height, around about 1 metre, and drop that soil. If a large clod of soil breaks away from the cube after the first drop, then drop them again, 1 to 2 times. If a clod shatters after the first or the second drop, don't drop it again. Don't drop any piece of soil more than 3 times. If your soil has a sandy loam texture, don't drop the soil more than once and reduce the height to about 0.5 metres above that tarp. Applying only gentle pressure, attempt to split any large clods by hand along any exposed cracks. If the clods can't be easily parted, don't apply further pressure, as it's unlikely that the cracks are continuous and transferring air and water. Sort out the soil pieces on the tarp from the small to the large, where the height of the soil roughly is about the same over the whole surface. Using the soil health scorecard, we can assess if the soil structure is poor. So is it a soil dominated by large soil clods that are hard or crusty, there's few cracks or holes, and there's no pores visible? That gets a score of 1. Is it fair? So there's some visible crumbly structure, few visible pores, and the soil contains roughly equal proportions of the large soil clods and the fine aggregates. That gets a score of 2. Or is it good? Crumbly on top and the soil forms and is dominated by these stable, fine aggregates, and that gets a score of 3. We can see that soil structure has a weighting of 3. This means that we take our score and we times it by 3. And this soil health factor is strongly influenced by decisions we can make as land managers, such as reducing compaction, increasing organic matter, and adopting no-till farming practices. Tillage of the soil not only breaks up those soil aggregates and it reduces the soil structure, but it also breaks up the soil organic matter into very accessible and attractive particle sizes for the soil biological organisms to consume. That reduces the soil organic carbon levels in the soil.